So we started off this Smackdown with Ryback coming out to cut a promo saying that Cena is prey and Ryback rules. Boy, you could feel the canned heat in this segment, couldn't you?
And this goes back to what I've been saying, what we've been saying. In my opinion, they're rushing this Ryback heel turn just to make this Extreme Rules match mainly a heel versus a face.
Indeed. And then we got to Ryback versus Bryan, which kind of made a little bit of sense with the Ryback walking out of the six-man tag last week, allowing Cena to be injured in that match. Apparently, a lot of people backstage are raving about this match and saying it was Ryback's best match, and it was a pretty decent match.
That's what I was going to say. I really did like this match. Ryback, I'm not the greatest fan of, but Bryan's performance in this, yeah, he still did the whole kick thing, but this match, great opener for SmackDown. Good way to kick SmackDown off, in my opinion.
Was a good opener and an appearance by Ryback on SmackDown, which is, pretty good as he is one of the main guys on Raw. And pretty competitive match. I can't really complain about this opener. Ryback goes over as he should do, and Bryan really did help make Ryback look good in that ring. Fandango versus Zack Ryder. Nothing really too much to say here. Jericho is out on tour, I believe, with Fonzie, so they can't really do too much of that. So it's another squash match for Fandango. He wins very quickly. That's all you really need to know there. And then we get on next. The next three segments just... Wow, these next three segments piss me off. So you started off with Zeb Coulter versus Ricardo Rodriguez. You get an interference. Teddy Long makes it a tag match between Zeb Coulter, Swagger, and Del Rio and Ricardo. Then you have Big E and Ziggler interfering. And in the end, it ends up being a triple threat tag match. And I'm just like, man, you had 3 matches here. To me, it's just silly. I'm sorry, but I hate this Teddy Long booking. Man.
Even though they built up in a bit of a crazy way and straight to the point, the first thing was to get revenge on that thing that Ricardo won to give Del Rio the choice of the pay-per-view match. Then you have the commentators, funny line here. Aren't you surprised that Teddy Long backstage just comes out and makes a tag match? With Ziggler doing an attack, we did say that he worked there when he's the SmackDown champion. So I agree that he needed a match eventually, and we got it here.
Yeah, but once again, Dolph Ziggler as a World Heavyweight Champion is feeling like a mid-carder to me, and that's just my honest opinion. He does the job for Alberto Del Rio, and this was, we know that this guy can have great matches and everything, and I've yet to see that other thing about Dolph Ziggler that is yet to jump out at me and say, this is a main eventer. This is going to be a World Heavyweight Champion. Give this guy a freaking talk show or a segment or something just so he can make himself feel like he is a big deal. Because right now he's just doing jobs for having a competitive match with Kofi, which he was doing 3 or 4 fucking years ago. He doesn't feel like a world champion. He still feels like that mid-carder.
That's why I think he should eventually be put up against someone who's being taken seriously. The Cena feud didn't work, but as Sheamus will make him work. Sheamus puts on big matches like with Big Show and that. So if you put this, I know they may have been together before, but I still think he needs someone he can work better with that can make him work in the match.
It would help if we hadn't seen Sheamus and Orton and all those guys facing about 50 times, but there we go. I hated the way this segment went down. Randy Orton versus Damien and Sandow. He's going up against the Rhodes Scholars this week. He made Cody Rhodes look pretty good. Damien Sandow, not so much. He won this match fairly quickly. And, this is all about the post-match, really. You had Big Show coming out and saying, Extreme Rules, there'll be nothing funny about what he does to Orton. But was you surprised that Randy Orton actually sold Sandow's finisher? He didn't do that for Cody on Raw, did he?
No, compared to that, when he knew that someone was coming up behind, he was alert, as his promo did on Raw. And then he allowed Sandow to take him down. I don't know why, but again, it was more Big Show's distraction or to concentrate on Big Show. But again, the Rhodes Scholars are still not getting their moment in a way.
Can't help but feel they could be using Cody Rhodes and Damien Sandow much better than they are, but they're not. So that continued the Orton Big Show feud. We then get on to the continuation of the Sheamus Mark Henry feud. They're taking a little tip out of Raw, which only gained about 100,000 viewers in the 10 p.m. slot, which was terrible. Going from a tug of war to an arm wrestling contest. Like I said, I felt this segment wasn't a lot better than the Raw one, simply because it got to the point. It's a good old-fashioned power guy versus power guy segment where they don't necessarily have to touch each other too much until Sheamus hits the freaking bro kick on Mark Henry for the 2nd time in a week.
There's 2 things I want to say about this. Yes, they're all trying to show Mark Henry's strength, Sheamus' cleverness as he did the left-hand punch. But I don't know why Sheamus or Mark Henry needs to be put over Sheamus when we know Sheamus is already up there. And the last thing I want to say is this feud still seems to be about because that's what I do.
Yeah, well, let's just get on to our main event. Kane versus Dean Ambrose. Of course, last week we had Undertaker versus Dean Ambrose, which was a really good match, actually. Was a dark match main event made for the main event of SmackDown. Earlier on in the night, we had Shield beating down Daniel Bryan, which meant that Kane would be out there on his own.
That video package, I do like their video packages. He mentions what they've done to Taker, Cena, and now what they're going to do to Kane. The way they built up, and then a Kane promo about him getting revenge after the reveal that Daniel Bryan was attacked. It was a nice build, and that's what I like. The build towards matches like we mentioned in previous shows.
TNA review, we mentioned that. Yeah, it was important. And surprise, Dean Ambrose got the win. I mean, that's a good thing. WWE actually giving a young guy a win over a veteran like Kane. And then we had the Shield beat down on Kane, who's on his own. They stand tall over Kane with the tag titles. You've got to feel that match is definitely going to happen at Extreme Rules now, and it is. The Shield are a big thing on SmackDown now, aren't they? I mean, the Shield is one of the better things about the WWE product right now, in my opinion.
And when I look at this, yes, Kane did exactly what he said. He did pop a good fight numerous times in the match, after the match, but obviously it was about the Shield taking down another name. And you saw at the end, it was Rollins and Ambrose holding the tag titles. So it's going to be them two eventually doing it, even though we think Ambrose is more the main eventer type. But I thought that was a good way to tease what we're possibly going to be getting at Extreme Rules.
Yeah, I think Ambrose and Seth Rollins are the less green in the ring, a lot less green in the ring than Roman Reigns. That's why they'll be there. This SmackDown, I mean, while I didn't like what they did with the World Heavyweight Championship, again, the show was solid. I mean, you had a good main event with the Shield. You had a good opener. There was other decent segments knocking around. So not your usual boring. I did watch a lot more of this week's SmackDown than I've done of other weeks' SmackDowns. I'll say that.
Last week was all matches. This we got the promos that we needed to fill in, build it up like we complimented.
It wasn't as monotonous this week.
Yeah. Very true. I did think this was a good SmackDown. I watched, like Dan said, a lot of this SmackDown. It seemed to have had build up towards the pay-per-view and stuff. So overall, I thought it was a good SmackDown.
Yeah, please leave us your thoughts and comments on this show down in the comment section below. And I'll hand you over to NJ.
And thank you very much for watching, people. Hopefully you've enjoyed this SmackDown as much as we showed that we have. And until next time, YouTubers, thank you very much for watching and goodbye.